Hello, listeners. Welcome to Lush Lawn Pro Podcast, Episode 6. My name is Aaron Sampson, CEO of Lush Lawn, and this is...
Ken Gesso, COO of Lush Lawn.
And we're joined today by a very special guest, Mark Kellebacher of Mission Green. They service the New England area, in particular Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and I believe a little bit of Connecticut. I think we have some good questions for Mark. I'll let Ken get started with that.
Yeah, Mark. So it's nice, Aaron. You can live it off. 6th episode. We're gonna get to a point where we're gonna lose track of that. I can't wait for that. Right? Episode maybe 7, 8. You'll forget which one we're.
Actually, I did lose track. I think it's 7. No, it is 6. Yeah. So it's 6.
Yeah, Mark, pumped to have you today, though.
Thank you.
Ton of experience in the industry with some different companies, your own companies, working for other companies, working your way up through the ranks. So excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. Ironically, Lush Lawn, and I used to have a company called Lush Lawn in Connecticut back in 2007.
Yeah.
So ironically, that's funny that we're working together now. So thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So Mark had a company with the identical name. So similar minds think alike in different markets.
Right.
And so when you went to speak before our group, you talked about having a Lush Lawn.
Yeah.
And so it was very, very interesting segue for sure.
Yeah. We'll start off, Mark, with just a little bit of your personal background. If you just give us a little bit of background on yourself and kind of where it all started.
So I started in lawn care back in 1989. So dating myself over 3 decades of lawn care, working for a small mom and pop to moving up to regional companies to national companies, things of that sort to starting my own. And then back in 2007, sold to a regional company out in New England that really jump-started my career and launched me to where I'm at today. Fast forward now in 2018, started Mission Green Services out of Chicopee, Mass, and then working our way into Rhode Island and now Connecticut, serving or doing over almost $5 million in revenue now.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive growth. I think our listeners will be pretty excited to know what your secret sauce is with regards to that. What inspired you to get into the lawn care industry?
Honestly, I needed a job back in, went fresh out of high school and fell into this lawn care company. Had an opportunity to go to school at Cleveland State for turf grass management. And I think, you cut myself right now, I bleed green. That's all I think about is lawn care and lawns. So it's been my passion for over 3 decades.
Yeah, Mark, what's pretty interesting, right, is you actually had your own company called Lush Lawn.
Right.
A little different territory, but I thought you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, 2007, started Lush Lawn. Googled the name, and it didn't come up anywhere, which was funny. So started Lush Lawn Service, and 2007. And it's funny, though, because what triggered me to look up Lush Lawn nationally, too, is that I used to get phone calls from Detroit. Asking, can I make a payment? Yeah, sure. You want to pay me? Have at it. So I looked it up, and then there was a Lush Lawn out here in Detroit. So really didn't know who you guys were at that time, and I'm all the way over there in the East Coast, and fast forward now, and just found that it was a great opportunity for in 2012 to merge with that regional company.
So you were in the East Coast. Yeah. Taking money from the Michigan economy, taking those Lush Lawn checks. Yeah. You were taking those Lush Lawn checks and credit cards and processing them for Lush Lawn. And where were you at exactly?
Connecticut. Okay. Yeah. No, we didn't take any Lush Lawn payments. I called your office a few times just to let you guys know that somebody calling us. So
that sounds more like a prank. It's probably a prank call.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty interesting.
I was more disappointed you Googled Lush Lawn in 2007 and it didn't come up. Strengthen up that marketing since then, I'm sure.
Well, I'm old school. I didn't know what Google was, and that's way back in the old days. Somebody told me to Google something. I looked at a phone book.
Right, the same. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So it is funny though, right? Because you're from the Cleveland market. We're from Detroit. We don't always see eye to eye on things. We definitely go to sports games. We've been to a few sporting events together, so
including the Lions being the Browns this year. We went to that one together.
Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and so bleed Ohio State Buckeyes for sure. OH.
Well, you tapped the table hard when you were talking about Ohio State. Yeah,
I think we beat you guys last time. So that was pretty good.
Let's get back onto some serious stuff here. We'll get out of these stuff. So Mark, you did start off right entry level with it, right? You started off as a technician, and now you're owner and
I did.
president. So if you just talk a little bit about that, right? What that was like, and when you decided when something shifted that said, "Hey, I want to take this serious. I want to make this a career."
Yeah, I started off as a lawn technician and for a national company, and then found myself doing sales. And I didn't think I was good at sales, and nor did I ever want to do sales, but found out that I was pretty damn good at it. And became a sales manager, and then moved across, from Ohio to Detroit to Chicago to working my way to Connecticut, and worked in almost every role that's possible in lawn care, right? Customer service, sales, production, things of that sort. And then I fast forward to my career when I joined forces with a regional company, and really got to really gain my leadership in how I wanted to lead a company, and had a great mentor, as you all know, Jim Campanella, and who was also my business partner with Mission Green, and how we started Mission Green.
Yeah, so about Jim Campanella. So we talked about Jim in episode 4, and during episode 4, we had Liam and James on from Yard Dogs in Calgary, and we all talked about Jim and how he helped us a lot as our mentor. And so it's a common thread that we share as your mentor, and now you're fortunate enough to work with Jim, right? So okay.
Yeah, I've learned a lot just through, now 10 years working with Jim, and then able to see what we did great at Lawn Dog, and what we do great here at Mission Green Services, and really investing in our field staff and in our core values that we bring over. So.
Yeah.
I just wanted to chime in a little. Just one of the quotes that always stuck out to me from Jim was when he said, "Whenever you launch something, Aaron, you always have to have a communication plan." Because when I was working with Jim, I was like, Jim, like how do you always know the right people to communicate the right things at the right times to? And he says, Aaron, and he said it in that Boston accent. I'm trying to imitate it. I can't quite capture that Boston accent. But he goes, Aaron. He goes, anytime you launch something new, you always have to have a communication plan.
Right.
And that was great, wise advice. And I've used it ever since. And I think you've probably heard me coin that phrase sometimes. I probably pass it off as if it's my own phrase at the time, certain times. But Jim, I did get that one from Jim.
Yeah. You've got to be able to, anytime you're launching anything, communication throughout the entire team. So we talk about one team, one goal here at Lush Lawn, right?
Yeah.
And communication is exactly that, so that we're all singing the same tune on whatever that communication piece might be, from a marketing or sales, from operations, delivering customer service. We all are, communication and how that's communicated down throughout the team.
Yeah, I did want to share too, Mark. I think you and I personally have worked together for 4
years.
4 years. Yeah, so it was about 4 years ago. Aaron came to me as I was working through my role as COO, right? And I was early on into that, and he'd mentioned consulting. I'm like, always willing to learn a little bit, get to learn something from people that have been there, done that, and pick their brains. So you and I have been doing that for about 5 years. And one thing that I think you just provide a lot of leadership, right? So when working with you over the last 5 years, like your style connects with a lot of people, and you're able to get things done with that style. So in that vein, the first question I have from the consulting and the leadership thing is, could you go into a little bit about what your leadership style is?
Yes, I would describe my leadership style as a servant leadership with high standards. I take responsibility for setting the vision and protecting the culture, right? That's huge, right? So when we have our culture within our company, we want to make sure that we're not compromising on that at all. So, and then, also rolling up your sleeves and getting dirty with the team, right? I have no problem going out in the warehouse. We have an end of the day process, and getting out there and help load trucks, help clean trucks, help sweep the floor, things like that. That's a great leader. And for me, showing the team that I'm okay with rolling my sleeves up and doing the work, it shows them that I'm out there with them and I'm in the trenches, and then they'll follow.
And now, with working with each other, we do have a little bit of different styles, similar in a lot of ways, right? But there's some times where I think you're more understanding than I am, maybe at times, right? So just a little bit of a difference there. But you have a team with you now at Mission Green. You've got a couple branch managers, right? And some other leaders throughout the company. How do you pair your leadership style with theirs?
I tend to be mission driven and hands on, which pairs really well with leaders who are detail oriented, analytical, system focused, things of that sort. So I provide clarity, momentum, and then just driving the culture, while others bring the structure, scalability, and refinement. So I intentionally listen. I want to listen to my team. I want to understand what's going on, and in delegating and in letting my team, dictate how their branches are going to be ran, right, within our structure and our policy and procedures. So and I think that complements well, and it creates a stronger decision and a healthier environment within the team.
Yeah.
We have healthy conflict, which is good. A great leadership team has healthy conflict to resolve whatever issue that we have, and communication is a big part of that.
Yeah, I tend to ask that question a lot with the leadership style. And I do. I mean, I've asked both of you on this podcast before, because it's interesting, right? As entrepreneurs and as they're growing a business, there's always that point where it gets big and you got to start delegating out, and, trusting others to do that. So I always think it's important that the listeners get a little view of how you guys have handled that in the past.
And it's hard when you're a hands-on owner for many years. It's hard to let go sometimes, because that's your baby, right? I mean, you've taken it from where you're at now, 11 million?
We're at 12.
12 million
right now, and
12 million.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so
I mean, that's where we're going to be this year.
Yeah, you remember the days.
11, yes.
You had the first 10 years of just, you got your thumbprint on everything. That's hard to let go, but you've got to trust the team that you built around you. I think that's important, is that you build that trust and you build that team around you that complements the things that I don't do well.
Yeah. So one of the things I've done is I've read a lot of books with regards to management and leadership. Drucker's books are really good, and I think they're somewhat timeless. But one of the things I really appreciate about Drucker is when he talks about the 4 layers of management. First of all, you manage your work, and I've talked about this, I think, in episode 1 as well. So first of all, you manage your work. Second of all, you manage your workers. Third of all, you manage your managers, and fourth of all, you manage the business. So those are the 4 types of leadership management that you come across, and each one requires really a different set of skills, a different approach. When you're managing your work, you really do have to get in on the details and know what it is. When you're managing your workers, there's a very high level of engagement. You have to show them what to do. There's a little bit more authoritarianism sometimes with regards to that. When you're managing managers, it's definitely more of a collaborative effort. So you're kind of working with people that are almost partners with you. Right. You're working with somebody that maybe like an accountant, for example, who knows way more than you do in accounting. So they have to spearhead something like that. And then managing the business, which is its own type of management. You're dealing with a lot of outside forces, and you have to make quick adjustments and things like that. So that's one of my good reference points. I think that's really helped me out quite a bit with regards to management and leadership.
Yeah, I mean, a great point is, I'm not a marketing director. I don't know marketing, but I have somebody who's great at it, and then through them we can create, that playbook that we're looking for. And
you said in your piece too, I think one thing you drive a lot of that allows it to keep going, even maybe in your absence or when you're not as close to it. I mean, you're here in Michigan, right?
Right.
Not in New England right now, but probably pretty confident stuff's going okay. The culture, right? You
Right.
talk a lot about culture, and I know you shared with me before of the typical pyramid. Could you talk a little bit about, let the listeners know what I'm talking about with the pyramid there?
Right. So, we've always seen, many companies where they talk about the pyramid, where the president or the owner's on the top. And for me, that flips around, and I've learned that. So when we flip that pyramid upside down, and the owner's at the bottom, or the president or the CEO's at the bottom, everybody else serves the people that are making money for the company, right? Our field staff makes the money for the company. So every layer, we have to make sure that we're serving that group that's really providing the customer service, the production, and driving the company forward.
Yeah. So one of the things, I thought originally when I launched this podcast, I thought the viewers, the listeners, they would tune in because of my humor. I thought that's why they were tuning in. But as I got through the podcast, I learned more and more that people really want to learn about our lawn care experience, adopt our ways, and recreate some of our business success. So getting more into Mission Green and sharing some of the challenges and history with that. So what like as an origin story, could you share some of the challenges that you faced with growing Mission Green?
Yeah. So I think that one of the biggest challenges, growing a small company and now thinking when I started Mission Green is thinking, okay, what's it going to look like at a $10 million company? What's it going to look like at a $20 million company? And at this point, we were $2 million is aligning people with the same standards and a long-term mindset, especially when you're hands-on in a field industry driven, industry like lawn care. So everyone comes with different backgrounds, habits, and expectations. So early on, I learned that assuming people just know, right? They don't just know everything, right? So what excellence looks like, I overcome a lot of this by just being extremely clear with expectations, right? And then investing heavily in training and leading by example every single day.
So right now you're roughly a $5 million company.
Almost, yeah.
And so you say you forecast ahead. So like if it looks like, what are things going to be like when you're a $10 million company?
Right.
So what are some of the changes that you would recommend to somebody that's going from, say, a $5 million company to a $10 million company? And by the way, I know you've worked with companies that are bigger than $10 million, right? So I think you have some experience in that area. But what kind of advice would you give somebody that's looking to grow from 5 million to 10 million?
I think you want to invest in the people, right? Who's going to get you there? For owners, we're a lot of times, when you're anywhere from 2 to 5 million, sometimes you get caught up in working in the business instead of on the business. So I think you start looking at where do you want to be at 5 million? Who do you need to invest in, right? Do you bring in a marketing director? Do you bring in human resources? At what point do you start doing that? And when I look at like, what are we going to be at 10 million? How many branches are we going to have, right? Are all these branches, I should be able to walk into every single branch and every single branch runs identical, right? So having structure, policy, procedures in place immediately now, thinking about what's it going to look like 10 years from now? What's it going to look like 15 years or at 15 million? So you want to, I don't think you want to be reactive in investing in people. I think you need to be proactive. If you want to grow to 10 million, then you need to bring in a marketing director right away. And at 5 million, 6 million is when you start thinking about bringing somebody in-house that's going to drive your revenue and drive your growth.
What can people expect? Even let's go from where you have been, right? So from the 2 million to the $5 million mark, what were some of the biggest challenges to get you to that mark, to grow that much?
I think just balancing accountability with empathy. You want to push people to grow, but you also have to recognize that life happens, whether it's family, stress, burnout. I've learned that consistency matters more than intensity. So just being consistent in your message, be consistent in holding people accountable, and then be consistent on how you're going to grow your business and how you're going to maintain that culture. I think that's huge. So I would say that being consistent is the big one there.
Yeah, so this is sort of maybe it's a little bit of a curveball question, and I don't see it on here. But I did want to ask you, you've also gone from being involved with a very large company, a company, close to maybe 20 million in revenue, right? And then once that company sold and you started fresh, what kind of adjustments did you have to make there? Going from being part of a large company to starting all over again and really starting your own company.
Yeah. Well, you didn't sleep a lot, that's for sure. So I think for the first 2 years, you don't sleep a lot, right? Because you're doing everything. Are you growing at the right rate that you want to grow at? Are you delivering great customer service? Are you, so you're doing, so the first 2 years, you're watching and growing, and it's a lot of sleepless nights because you're sitting there waiting for, it's March 15th. There's 2 feet of snow on the ground. We should be making a lot of sales, right? We're not making sales. And then April hits and then we start making sales. Yes, it's a change, right? But, for me, I'm wired for growth, and that's just how I am. I'm always thinking about growing. And so it was just a matter of and just understanding, trust the process, right? Trust the process. I have a process in place. I have a plan in place, but also just know that if I have a plan, that I can adjust it and then implement a new plan. So being able to plan, adjust, and implement was huge, and just kind of really focusing on that and being able to just be able to kind of pull back and go, just trust the process, Mark. Trust the process.
Yeah, that's a little unique too, and that's an awesome question you asked. I like that question, but a kind of a different variation of that. You were in a different role, right, with the larger company. You didn't, weren't from the ground floor helping grow
Right.
that. But do you find it easier to to grow this business now, having that experience? Do you think that's sped up the growth of Mission Green? Having that?
I think, well, yeah, I was director of lawn care operations, in charge of, 10 branches. And so mainly focused on operations, right? Making sure that, this branch is ran exactly like this branch, right? And we're out there servicing our customers, right? That was huge. I didn't have much of the marketing background, but I had a strong sales background from other, my early in my career. So I was always strong in sales, always strong in the operation side of the business. What I wasn't strong at was marketing, right? So that was a learning curve for me. So I had to learn through our marketing director. I have a fractional marketing director, and who happens to work with you guys.
Yeah.
And I'll give a plug out to Jenna Richardson from Dynamic Vision. She does a tremendous job helping us grow to where we're at now. And but I wanted to learn what does SEO mean? How does Google Guarantee work? How does Google Ads work? I wanted to know every little bits and piece that I could to better educate myself so that I can help grow this business too. So that was a challenge, right? Because I was on an operation side of the business for many years, and when I had Lush Lawn, I wasn't in growth mode like that. So so it was different because we didn't have marketing and things of that sort.
What is a piece of advice that you would give to a new entrepreneur starting off right now?
I would say that you find yourself a peer. Find yourself somebody who can mentor you. They're out there. I would say join a state organization. If you're within, a state that has a lawn care organization, join that. I would say join the National Landscape Professionals. That's huge. There's a mentorship program. Find yourself a mentor. Somebody who can help. For me, I had a great mentor. I have a great mentor now. So I give back to the industry. And if somebody, I have no problem through our networking and things of that sort that I give back to the industry. And I want to be able to help somebody else that can grow their business as long as they're not in my service area.
Fair enough.
I like that disclaimer. That's a very good disclaimer. But I will say that's one of the good things. It's one of the rich things about our industry is that we're willing to share with other members, across the industry. Again, with that caveat, if they're not in the same market, I guess that's a good thing to say there. I did want to pivot a little bit here and just chat about the vision, for the future.
Yeah.
And so, what is Mission Green's focus at this time?
Yeah. So. For us in Mission Green, our focus is sustainable growth, right? We don't want to grow too fast. What we want to do is be able to grow and continue to service our customers at a high level. So that means, continuing to invest in our people. I'm huge on investing in our like I said, our people. They run the company. Refining our system. We're always refining our system, finding better ways that we can help, just really refine and get better at what we do, right? So if that's improving our beginning of the day process, our end of the day process, refining our products, our programs and things of that sort, we invest in that. And staying committed to science-driven turf care. We want to grow in a way that really protects our standards and our culture and trust we've built it with our customers. So yeah.
What about the goals for the immediate future? What are we looking like for 2026? Anything on the horizon that you're really focused on for this year?
Again, we want to grow our business, and really just for me, it's about networking and for Mission Green, we want to grow and our goal is to take over New England. Yeah. So, but again, protecting our culture and protecting our standards. And that doesn't mean that, we can do it through acquisitions. If it's the right acquisition, we would definitely entertain that. But for us, it's sustainable growth and slow growth, not too fast that we can't provide great customer service. So.
I did want to go back to because you spoke about it in the last couple questions ago, but about marketing, right? You didn't know a ton about marketing.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting though was I had asked you a few years ago, and it actually stemmed from a recruiting question. It was like, hey, how can we do a little bit better in recruiting? And you mentioned something at that time that did help with recruiting, but also helps just generally marketing. And it's a pretty inexpensive thing. We had some success with it, but I know you had a ton of success with it, and that's Facebook. I don't know the rules and everything behind this, but I know you did something pretty, to me at least, unique with Facebook groups. I thought it's nice because, again, kind of inexpensive. I thought people listening, if maybe that's something that could happen.
Interesting enough, when we started Mission Green, the actual name was Stay Green at that time, and then we found that name was registered nationally and changed it to Mission Green. But what I did starting off early is I joined as many Facebook community groups as I could. I was up in Springfield, Mass, and I joined a bunch of communities. And from there, what I did is joined every community I could. I probably was in 15 communities. And anytime I saw a post or anytime I think the timing was right and the weather popped and I saw that first dandelion, I started posting in those groups. And hey, if you're looking for lawn care, call me, Mission Green Services, right? Yeah. And then generate that buzz. And I think what that did is, yeah, it generated some leads, but it also got our name out there to thousands of people, right, in the communities. I mean, some of these communities have 12,000 people in it. And so if I can get our name out there, that reinforces some of the other marketing efforts that we have, direct mail, the SEO and things of that sort. Yeah. I think that really helped. So somebody's just starting out, I would advise that. Yeah.
So you weren't worried about violating Facebook community rules? Did you end up in Facebook jail at any point?
I didn't end up in Facebook jail at any time, but I've gotten from the whoever runs the groups, the administrators. Sometimes they would shut me down for a week or two, but as soon as they let me back out of jail, I went right back at it and let them shut me down again.
Yeah. Well, they never escalated you to Zuckerberg.
No, you know what I did is I took a different angle, and it's funny. So I'll share this angle, and it's pretty cool. Is so before I used to advertise, right? Oh, but now what I would do is after I got in Facebook jail within that community, what I would do is actually go into that community and say, hey, I saw earlier somebody was questioning about looking for lawn care. I just want to let you know that I do offer lawn care, and here's the name, Mission Green. And that was a workaround for a little while until they caught on that. And once they got caught on that, I said, all right, I'll just hold back and push back a little bit. Maybe just do it once a month. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, you should have wore stripes for this interview, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get your name out there.
To be fair, right? You are on, I think, your 7th or 8th Facebook profile now.
So. No, I have the one, so it's good. It's lasted, but I've joined probably 15 other communities within Connecticut and now Rhode Island. So it works. I share it, and then you know what? I get our name out there.
In all seriousness, I think it's cool, right? You don't always have to spend a ton of money, right? You can find unique ways to find workarounds and get your name out there and get some leads.
I think if you're just stuck in this one narrow way of either recruiting, and I use that for recruiting also. Mm-hmm. If you're stuck in that one narrow way of how you're going to recruit or grow your business, you're hurting yourself. So if you don't start thinking outside of the box, and that was one way I thought outside of the box early on, is to help grow that business, and I still do it today. Just did a couple Facebook posts earlier today while we were in a meeting. Yeah. Is that for recruiting I do it and it works, and for lawn care it works, and you got to think outside of the box and get in front of these people. So
moving from marketing, we're going to move into one of your strengths. Right here, and you didn't realize it was one of your strengths when you were talking about your own bio here. But sales is one of your strengths. And so, what advice would you give to our listeners with regards to sales?
What I've learned that customers aren't buying a product, right? They're buying a peace of mind. If you listen more than you talk, set honest expectations, and explain the why behind your recommendations, customers feel respected, and when they feel respected, they buy, and it's that simple, and they stay. So tomorrow I talk about the why here for Lush Lawn, and I did the why for Mission Green, and what makes us different, right? Mm-hmm. If I asked today, right now, Ken, I'll put you on the spot, and I ask, why is Lush Lawn different than everybody else? Tell me why.
Yeah, for us, I would say we make it easy for you to enjoy a beautiful property, right? So everything we do, it's about you. Maybe that first call is the last call you need to us. We make everything else easy, from that point of payments, from getting service to you, to just helping you on your property.
Right. And if I asked our competitor why, right, would they say the same thing? Would they say we got great products, great service, things of that sort? We're gonna uncover that tomorrow, right? It's gonna be exciting. I'm excited to talk about the why, and it was an eye-opener for me discovering what our why was at Mission Green. Yeah. And if you learn that, they're not buying a product, they're buying a peace of mind. That's huge, right? And then your customers will stay.
Yeah, so just for full disclosure here, I did want to let our listeners know what Mark's referring to. One of the reasons he's here is he's going to speak for our spring kickoff tomorrow. And our spring kickoff is an idea we actually originally got from Mark's partner, Jim Campanella. And we do that before every season. The goal of our spring kickoff is to inform all the people that work at Lush Lawn about the changes, about the direction, about our successes, about our failures as a company, and what we're looking forward to for the up and coming season. And so Mark is going to spend some time with us tomorrow, and I think he's got maybe a 30-40 minute presentation that he's going to share with our team. And I would just let everybody know this is a very successful practice. Right now, we have about 90 employees that are going to be a part of this. And when you guys were doing it, I think you probably had several hundred employees in the past in launching this. But it's very motivational, and it really helps to bring people together as a team. And our mission statement's one team, one goal, and it's a way to kick that off for us.
Right. You know, I this is now my 5th year doing this with you guys, so it's fun watching the crowd.
Fist bump.
Right?
There we go.
It's fun watching the crowd go from 50, 60, 70, 100. Right? We're getting so it's energetic. I get pumped. I think you asked me, this morning, how do you feel? You didn't get much sleep last night. I don't get much. I'm anxious. I'm ready to go, and I'm excited, and I'm thinking about new ways of how I can just pump up the crowd, right? So it's fun watching the vision. I get to watch the vision of Lush Lawn. I get to be a part of it. I get to see what's new and innovating, and I get to learn a lot coming here. So it's exciting. Really pumped.
All right. Well, I've got a bonus question for you that I just thought of. Okay. And so I'd like to ask you. So, like in the 5 years you've done this for us, okay, from 5 years ago to now, what have been some of the changes you've seen with Lush Lawn? It could be negative changes or positive changes, but what are some of the, maybe one or two of the biggest changes that you've seen?
The biggest change is the call center, right? You guys, when I first came here, you didn't have a call center, right? So one team, one goal. That call center drives that, right? You've got customer service, you've got sales, you've got the leadership team. That's the core of delivering that message of that one team, one goal. And I'm even take it even farther. You're gonna love this. It's gonna be on my slideshow. One team, one goal, one Lush Lawn.
I love it.
Now that we got rid of the other Lush Lawn,
This one was fun. That's right. It is one Lush Lawn.
anything else, Mark?
Oh
that you
yeah.
want to share?
So listen, amazing growth. It's fun watching. I've seen procedures be put in place. I've seen just a lot of growth within the organization. And when I say growth, I don't mean growing the business. I mean growing as leaders, right? Mm-hmm. Becoming leaders. It's just fun watching, branch managers become leaders, service managers become branch managers, and then they become great leaders. So hats off to both of you for creating a culture that people can grow and grow within the company. So
yeah. No, I was always I read a fair amount. I used to read a lot more than I do now, but there was a quote from Andrew Carnegie going back about 150 years ago, and he was chiding some of his competitors and saying, "You guys buy your managers, but I develop my managers." And that's something that I think we try to do a really good job here at Lush Lawn, is developing our people so that they can become leaders. And I know you guys do the real good job with that too at Mission Green. Well, I appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
Having this out with us here, Mark. You're doing. You really helped us out with this podcast, and I'm sure our listeners will get a lot out of it. So that'll do it for another episode of our Lush Lawn Pro Podcast, number 6. And so, Mark, where do people go to learn more about you or visit you online, or maybe on Facebook, or your website?
Stay
off of Facebook. So, where should they go?
I think the easiest way to reach me is Mission Green, www.missiongreenservices.com. Anytime, yeah. And if somebody has questions, anything, you can reach me on my cell phone, 860-329-7697. I have no problem answering any call that I can and things of that sort. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome.
This was great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
And you can certainly visit us on lushlawn.com as well. And I would also recommend if you want to follow us on Facebook or on Instagram, we would really like that. Twitter as well, LinkedIn. But we're really trying to build up the Instagram page. So if you can follow us, especially on Instagram, we would like that. But until next time, have a great week, and we'll see you again. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks.